Get ready for a one-man argument. Since I haven't done a rant video in a little while, I figured now was the perfect time to make one because I get asked about this topic a lot and I feel like the answer is fairly obvious, but at the same time, there's more complexity to answering this question, and that is why football boots don't last as long as they used to. And I guess the best way to start this video is to ask for your own personal opinions because that is ultimately what matters here. And the question is, do you think football boots don't last as long as they used to? Meaning, boots that we have now versus what we had 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even 2 years ago, do you feel like as a whole, football boots are less durable? Now for me, when it comes to this topic, I'm kind of on both sides of the argument because I kind of feel for the brands, but at the same time, they've put themselves in this position to where I do feel like boots don't last as long as they used to. But in favor of the brands, this needs to be considered. While they have made the decision to go with lighter boots overall, lighter boots are ultimately what people want to buy. If you look at the average weight of football boots, even just going back 6 or 7 years, the top end boots, most of them anyways, used to be around 9 to 10 ounces. Some were 8, some were 7, some were a little bit lighter depending on how specific they were in regards to what they were designed for, obviously speed boots being lighter. But if you look at most top end boots now, they're all pretty much in the 7 to 8 ounce range, most of them closer to 7 rather than 8. And even at 8 ounces, those are boots that people are calling heavy these days, and because they are considered heavy, even though they're not, people don't end up buying them. So in that regard, companies are forced to make boots lighter and lighter. Because the boots are getting lighter and therefore thinner, they obviously aren't going to last as long. That's not so much the fault of the brands, that's more so the fault of the consumers. But again, the brands made the decision to go lighter and thinner, so you kind of have to blame them at least a little bit. Here's where I don't side with the brands quite as much. They are releasing more and more new product than they ever have before, whether it's new models, new colorways, especially limited edition releases, you name it. There are probably 4 times as many releases now than there were just 5 years ago. And social media has a large part to do with that. YouTube channels like mine have a large part to do with that. And the fact that these companies can so easily put new products out to the public and have so many eyes on it right away means that there really isn't anything stopping them from putting out as many products as possible. But as a company, the more products that they put out, the more they have to sell. Meaning that when they sell you those brand new boots, they want you to buy the next new thing. And the main way for them to get you to buy the next new thing is for that product you bought 3 months ago to break, so you're forced to need new boots and buy the next new thing. If your boots that they sell you last for 3 years, you're probably not gonna buy the next new thing. So they almost, to a certain extent, I don't wanna say this as a conspiracy theory, but because the boots have gotten lighter and thinner, which was their decision, they've kind of built in repeat business because they know themselves that those boots that they just sold you are not gonna last that long. Now granted, every major manufacturer does offer some kind of a warranty program should something go wrong with your boots prematurely. They are mass producing these things. There are going to be manufacturing defect, which is going to lead to premature failure. So if something does go wrong a little bit early, you can contact the warranty department of Nike, Adidas, Puma, whatever brand of boots you have purchased, regardless of whether or not you have purchased it from them directly. A lot of people don't understand that. And you'll basically have to send the boots in for review. They'll approve your warranty claim and likely replace them for you, give you store credit, or reimburse you in some type of way. Make sure that you have a brand new pair of boots because the first pair that you bought, something was wrong with them. Fortunately for these big brands, this is not something that is common knowledge. So when most people's boots break, even if it's premature, they just end up going and buying brand new boots from the same brand again. And I think that in itself says a lot about the average consumer these days. And let's face it, Nike and Adidas are by far the 2 biggest brands, and most people are either Team Adidas or Team Nike. Obviously, people buy from the other brands as well, but Nike and Adidas have the 2 biggest followings. And if you're buying Nike boots, you're probably only gonna buy Nike boots. Most people, I don't think, cross over all that much, at least the vast majority of people. Now, what I'm getting at here is that if you buy an Adidas boot and they break, you're probably still gonna buy an Adidas boot. If you buy a Nike boot and it breaks, you're probably still gonna buy a Nike boot after that, meaning that you're not really punishing these companies for producing subpar quality products. So if you're complaining about Nike and Adidas boots not being that durable, but continuing to buy Nike and Adidas boots, guess what you're telling them? what they're making is perfectly fine and you have no problems with it. If their sales don't drop, they really have no reason to change. In fact, if their sales continue to go up, they're just going to continue producing more and more boots, which is ultimately good for them from a business perspective. But when you're talking about the durability of the boots and them not lasting as long, if you're unhappy with the durability or quality or whatever it might be about that brand specific products, don't buy the products and maybe they'll change them. And I don't want the focus of this video to be just on Nike and Adidas, but I would say that they are the main culprits here in this particular issue. If you look at any other big brand, Puma being a good example, I think they produce really good quality products that seem to hold up quite well. Mizuno, a much smaller brand, at least in the football boot industry, depending on what part of the world you're in, they produce some of the best quality products out there. The materials, the build quality, top notch, extremely durable. You're gonna pay a premium for it, but you really do get what you pay for. In the case of Nike and Adidas, because they're producing so many new boots, I guess an indirect way of them building in repeat business is to make the products simply not last as long. And I can't say for sure that this is something on purpose, but based on what has been happening over the last couple of years, I'm kind of thinking to myself more and more that they are doing this on purpose. Here's the issue though, like I just talked about, the consumers these days expect boots to be relatively thin and extremely lightweight. So if Nike and Adidas produce a boot that is heavier and thicker and more durable, guess what? It is probably not going to sell. So while they have technically now produced a product that is built to last longer, which is technically what people are asking for, it does not mean that those consumers are going to buy it. In fact, I would venture to guess that if they did produce a product like that, people wouldn't want it. The Copa Mundial, if you're looking for something durable from the Adidas brand, they still produce it. It's old school, but guess what? None of the younger generation wants that. And you have to also consider that these brands, while a lot of adults play the sport, kids are the main focus of their business because they are legitimately buying new boots every single year, not just because the boots are breaking, but because they are constantly growing. And when you grow out of your old boots, you have to buy new ones. So that is where they're getting a lot of their business. That's the focus demographic for them. And guess what? That demographic who's not paying for the boots themselves, they don't care if they only last a season because they want the newest and latest, greatest product anyway. So it really is one of those things where it's kind of like you're caught between a rock and a hard place, where the company kind of has a stranglehold on the consumer and the consumer really wants something that they don't necessarily want fully because they want something light and thin, but they also want something durable. And unfortunately, I don't think you can have both. And that pretty much concludes this rant. It's a vicious circle that the industry has created that there's really no solution for, which means that Nike and Adidas and the big brands, for the most part, have pretty much won because the products that consumers are demanding are the products that these companies want to make because they're cheaper for them to make and they're not going to last as long, which means that they are going to get repeat business, which means they're ultimately going to sell more products, which is a major win-win for them. Not such a win-win for the consumer, but again, that's kind of what we've asked for. But those are just my thoughts on this topic. Let me know yours down below in the comments. And also, if you guys did enjoy this video, please support it with a like. That helps me out tremendously. If you guys would like to see more rant videos on the channel, I guess let me know down below in the comments as well. Any suggestions are greatly appreciated. And if you did enjoy this one and don't want to miss out on future videos, I make a new one every single day. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified whenever the next new video goes live. All my social media information, if you're not following me anywhere else aside from YouTube, that's all linked down below. Go ahead and check that out. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.